Tamara Anderson from the Virginia Department of Health Safe Drinking Water Division is going to be here next Tuesday, the 29th, to meet with us. She has some concerns about the final report of the asset management plan that was done last year. Who did that, Wendy? Was that
Hurt and Profit?
Hurt and Profit did that.
Mm-hmm.
And she also has some concerns. She's bringing the wastewater representative with her, and they also has some huge concerns over the Petrus water system that serves the customers right outside of town in Botetourt County down here. So she's been very helpful, been very informative, and she's willing to try to help us find out what's going on and work through the problem with support from the Virginia Department of Health. She has access to some funding and testing ability that we might not otherwise have the ability to have. So she's going to help us with that. While we're talking about that, we'll move on to the next, and that is Petrus. Petrus is, I guess Petrus is the successor to what is known as the old Iron Gate Water Company. And the Iron Gate Water Company is who initially had the account for those 25, somebody's got to move, turn the lights on.
Yep. There it goes.
That's a problem. So,
As long as somebody moves in the room.
yeah, somebody twitch every now and then or something so that the lights will work.
We were mesmerized by the presentation.
Yes, but Petrus bought them, and Petrus has been kind of difficult to deal with. We've all known that for years. But now they're unreachable. They haven't serviced their lines down there. They've had 2 major leaks down there in the last month. I mean, we even went down there and repaired one water meter because it was using our water. And to be quite honest with you, we're not being paid by them right now. They haven't paid us since October. So you have a situation where you have 25 residents down there that depend on Iron Gate's water that's supposed to be bought and sold back to them by a company by the name of Petrus. The owner of the Petrus company has moved his contact information and home to Las Vegas, Nevada. I did manage 2 weeks ago, Wendy, was it 2 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago.
Managed to reach out and get somebody from the Roanoke office to answer the phone. She acted like she just could not believe that they were that far behind on their water bill, and promised a payment of some sort out that day. We have yet to hear from her, and now when you try to call her or any number listed for Petrus, it goes nowhere. There's no ringing, there's no busy signal, there's no anything. So, and we're talking about almost $7,000 that they owe the town. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of in a catch-22 situation. We can go down there and turn the water off to those 25 people. Mm-hmm. But those 25 people are victims. Mm-hmm. They're victims just like we're victims. Mm-hmm. And it would be different if they were 25 customers that were buying their water directly from us and didn't pay us. We'd cut their water off without hesitation. But the reason I think that we haven't is because there hasn't been anybody reading their water meters in months, they said. They haven't seen any representatives from this water supply company in months. So, you know, all we're going to accomplish by cutting their water off, yeah, we'll stop our water loss, but there are going to be 25 families down there without water for who knows how long. So Ms. Anderson from the health department is going to address that also. I've talked to Jared, and Wendy's talked to Jared about going ahead and launching a court case, and he's willing to do that, but he seems to be reluctant because he said he doesn't even know if we're going to be able to get service on them to bring them before a judge to make them accountable. So he's looking into what our, number one, our obligations to those residents down there are, and two, what our legal stance is as far as our ability to make a decision about whether to keep serving that water system or not. You know, it's quite a huge dilemma because you don't want to cut people's water off that you know it's not their fault, and you're never going to get reimbursed for it. But at the same time, we can't afford to keep giving water away when we're not getting paid for it. So, you know, I guess ultimately the decision is with y'all as to how you want to handle it. If you say cut the water off, then we have to cut the water off. But I just don't feel like that is the morally or ethically correct thing to do to those people, because they're already victims. You know, and they know they're victims, and they're like, in fact, I had one of them ask me personally, what do we do? Tell us what to do, Randy.
What about having them, instead of paying Petrus monthly, pay us?
That's what I was
Until
wondering.
they get something straightened out, at least.
Starting in January, yeah.
At least that is, you know, we're getting something, might not be all of
But
it,
it's something.
but it's something that we not gonna be left hung around our neck.
And that's one avenue that Jared is actually looking into to make sure that we're not going to get into any type of a court battle, because we have a contract with Petrus. Now, my state thought process on that, and I've stated this to him, they're in breach of their contract.
Yes.
You know, technically, we could turn the valves and turn them off without any recourse. But we have a little bit more morality built into us than to do that to those people. You know, it'd be a different thing if they were blatantly refusing to pay their bill. But they're still paying their bills to Petrus.
We're paying him.
They're mailing checks and they're going somewhere. But we're not getting a dime. So,
Well, if Jared can get it turned around to where they start paying us, I bet you we hear from him.
well, and I think you're probably right. But at the same time, you know, I think he runs a pretty shoestring operation, if you will. You know, we've called them on numerous occasions and told them they've had leaks, and they were weeks and months before they responded. But at that time, they were paying us for the water that went through the meter. So other than it being a huge bill for them, there was really no problem for us because we were getting paid for it. So, and they had 2 huge leaks down there this past month. And here we are holding the bag for the water usage. And we got to come to some solution on that too. You know, $7,000 is not a tremendous amount of money, but when you operate and you budget on a break-even status, you need every penny that you got coming in, and that we did that purposely. I mean, we ran a streamlined, tight budget this year because of the virus and people being out of work. And you know, we even talked about it when we did it. But in order for that to work, we need to get the money that we budgeted coming in. Any questions about Petrus or where we are with that, or any other comments, Randy?
I'd say that regardless where we have to, well, the town has to go to court or not, that I would try to get it by January, like I say, January, to start paying us, and then Let them worry about it.
Patterson.
I mean, I wouldn't worry about breach of contract and all that bull. That might be a way he's just trying to force us to take.
Yeah, and I anticipate that that's probably what it is. You know, and it's in such bad shape, it's gonna be a nightmare if we take it over. It's gonna cost us money right off the bat to go in there and upgrade everything. If we can even find all the lines, because there's really no map of where they are. It's a very slipshod operation.
Well, since that property is located in Botetourt County, would the Board of Supervisors or anybody in Botetourt have,
Well, that's what it's-
instead of Iron Gate taking that on, would somebody else? I mean, could Iron Gate contact Botetourt County and say, we're not getting any response, we know it's not your problem, but these houses are in Botetourt County, you all are gonna have to take over the water line?
Well, they're not gonna do that because they're not selling them water.
Okay.
We're selling them water, or selling water to Petrus. And that's what this Miss Anderson, one of the things that she wants to address, and she wants to go down there and look at as much of the system as she can see.
Good.
And give us some options on what she thinks we should be able to do and what the state's obligation to those people, and in this case, what Botetourt's obligation to those people would be. Because as I see it, they are victims, just like we are, and they're suffering from a company that has breached its contract with them. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. Any other questions on that?